Thank you for tuning in to Spiritual Debriefing, a podcast about Christian men living a Christian life in a very unchristian world, with your hosts Daniel Meadows, Derek Fisher, Randy Bryson, Jed Harris, and Ray Taggart. And tonight's special guest is Autumn Fisher.
Welcome to Spiritual Debriefing. I am Daniel Meadows.
And I am Randy Bryson.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Daniel.
How are you? I'm so glad to see you.
And I'm Jed Harris.
Hi, Jed.
Hey, Jed.
Hello.
Jed.
Hey, who are
And
you?
we got a special.
I'm Autumn Fisher.
Autumn Fisher,
Wow.
our guest tonight.
Hi, Autumn.
Hi,
Autumn.
Randy.
Who do you belong
Smiley.
to?
Derek Fisher.
No, dang
Sadly.
Aw.
it. And I'm here. Derek.
Hey,
Hi, Derek.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you.
As always, I'm over here pushing buttons and turning knobs, and I think we're sounding pretty good tonight. So let's get this on the way. Well, yeah, I'm Ray, by the way. I guess I should say my name. And
That was kind of cool. Ray, by the way.
Ray, by the way.
for all you listening out there, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave a comment if you could. That helps get it spread out to more people. That's how these algorithms work. So even if it's just a comment that says comment, that still helps. So
That's right.
otherwise, if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, you can just leave it on the social media, leave it on the YouTube, or we also have our Ray at spiritualdebriefing.com. You can send questions or comments to as well. And without further ado, let's get this on the road.
Do you really push buttons or do you just sit back?
Well, there's a lot of pushing buttons at the beginning.
I haven't seen him push one button yet.
Well, the most-
I think he turns a lot of
There's
it.
Autumn.
Yes.
There's Autumn.
Who invited her?
all of a sudden, Autumn's mic is gone.
All right.
That's Derek's kid.
Love it. Love
Some
it.
people's kids.
That was good. Hey, she jumped in quick.
Yeah, she did.
I guess
We're
we'll let
glad
her
you're
stay
here.
around.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How you doing?
You doing good?
Great.
So, Autumn, tell us about yourself.
Oh, shoot.
Ah.
5'2".
Thought you were on
brown
the
hair.
spot.
Yeah, pretty much. What am I supposed to say?
I don't know.
Are you in high school?
You're in high school, right?
Yep, senior in high school.
Senior in high school. There you go.
How many more days?
Less than 100. I think 98. Yeah.
Counting
Excited.
down.
Yeah, I'm
How
excited.
many are you going to show up for?
95.
Yeah. Probably.
Has senioritis kicked in yet?
Are you going to
Yes.
pass?
Since
time?
last year.
Since last year.
Yes.
Are you going to pass? You good?
Yeah,
Good
I think so.
grades? All right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully I passed.
Yes, you better.
As long as I make 90 days.
Right.
Right. So what's next? Next steps.
This summer I'm going to Iowa to be on a Bible camp and help with the horsemanship clinic.
What's that Bible camp? What's the name of it?
What's the name?
You forgot already?
Oh, Village Creek Bible Camp
All right, I'll cut that
Don't
part
put her on
out,
the spot.
just in case they're listening.
So
in
yeah,
Lansing, Iowa.
that is definitely Derek's kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
And then going to U of A to major in animal science.
Yay, but boo.
We
No,
pick.
I mean, that's awesome.
Hey, I just realized you have the orange cord. That's Oklahoma State.
That's just a league right there.
Sorry, ADDDD.
There's a reason he chose that spot.
Can you put an 01 right here?
What are you going to be doing at the church camp?
Yeah.
I'm going to help with the horsemanship clinic, get the horses ready for the kids, and help with the teacher teaching the kids how to ride and stuff like that. Feeding the horses, taking care of them morning and night.
That'll be fun, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited.
How long are you going to be there?
2 months.
All
I
right.
have to be there May 26th, and I graduate May 20th.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
pretty soon.
6 days to enjoy graduation,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
off you go.
Pack the bags and gone.
And
This
then
is the
come-
first time away from home.
Yeah. Yep. For that period, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I come back August 10th.
Mm.
Oh, wow. And college you'll start.
August 15th.
You know how to keep her out of trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot how quick that stuff moves.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should be fun for you.
Like,
Yeah.
That's awesome. You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited but nervous because I don't know anybody in Iowa, so it's a little nerve-wracking.
It's all right. They're nice people. They have really good pork out there.
Really good.
Good to know.
Pork.
Yeah, they raise a lot of pigs. They do a lot of our pigs. They're big into the pork out there. Corn as well.
I was gonna say
I've been to Iowa a bunch.
Corn.
When I think about Iowa, I think about corn.
Corn.
Yeah.
But do you know what Iowa stands for?
I owe the world an apology.
That's not what I heard, but
Okay, that's what we say up in Minnesota anyway. Apologize to anybody from Iowa. But
it's pretty good.
There you go.
what do you guys say?
Idiots on their way to Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
You will be coming back.
Here comes the comments.
I will not tag
say
them.
comment.
Yeah, I will not tag them.
We wanted comments. That's why Autumn showed up.
There
You
we
can
go.
edit it out, right?
For a fee.
It's called blackmail.
Yeah.
Get
Well,
used
We'll
to
make
it.
sure
I
to
think
add
that's
your
the episode for
email at the end.
I prefer extortion. It sounds better.
What else? What other jokes you got?
That's it for right now.
Well, good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
most
letting me be
definitely.
here.
Yeah. So normally we have a topic.
Yeah.
And this week we're just kind of
Shooting from the hip.
shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
I was gonna say just
Yeah, because
free for all.
it's like a tie-in. You know, we're gonna do a little bit of. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
It's all right.
Ray had to adjust my mic.
Derek was not in the proper
It was,
spot.
it was
Yeah.
pointing a little too high.
Okay.
It's all good.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's why we were catching
First
the
day on the
breathing.
job.
Yeah, we were losing all his bass too. We were losing all the bass in there.
Yeah, because what the next podcast we're gonna have a couple of special guests. So we're giving them time and bring them on in a couple
I like
weeks, and we'll have the female perspective. The mamas, we'll have the mamas
Mom's
in.
perspective.
Yep, on raising kids.
We're gonna have to straighten up.
Yeah,
Yeah, good luck.
yeah, right. I'm excited about that. You know,
Yeah.
we all know how mamas are important in our lives.
Oh yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get that different perspective out there and bring in the mamas.
Pretty excited.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good.
I think so. Yeah, it's
Gonna
going
be
to be
real
good. But then, Autumn wanted to tag along tonight, and I says,
Why not?
why not?
Let's do it. I love it.
Here I am.
Yeah,
love
let's get your side of the story on parenting.
Oh, there's a lot. We'll be here for another hour.
I know. We don't have enough time to tell you about all the awesome stuff that your mom and dad do. And,
Right.
Yeah, sure.
That's at the other
They're
hour.
great parents.
Yeah. Let me leave the room, and then you'll get the real stories.
Well, while you were out of the room, we said, Autumn, why are you here? And she said, I don't know. She said,
Yeah.
okay, so what did you do that needs to be talked about in front of all of us?
And then I got scared.
She got real scared.
Have you ever heard of an intervention?
This is it.
She's like, they caught me already?
Don't admit to it till he asks
No.
you.
No, that's even worse.
Plead the fifth.
I
Just
learned my
plead the
lesson.
fifth.
But when we ask, we always know the answer. At least 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way.
Remember,
That's
you have
exactly
the right
right.
to remain silent.
No, not
you don't.
really.
That only works with the police.
Yeah, not in this house.
Not in this court.
Yep. You get down to the family level, it's definitely much more dictatorship and totalitarian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything you say and don't say will be used against you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that, that's not unbiblical. That's how you're supposed to run your household. It really is.
Explain that.
Well, it is not a democracy in the household, right? Parents are supposed to submit to their children. Wives are supposed to submit to their husbands. That doesn't mean they're subservient to their husbands. We can go into all that if we really want to dig down that rabbit hole.
You mean the kids submit to
So
their parents?
kids submit to their parents. Yeah, you flipped that.
And then I said kids submit to parents, and then wives submit to the husband.
Okay.
That's what I thought I said anyway, and that's what I meant to say. But yeah, the kids submit to the parents, and then the wives submit to their husbands, and the husbands are supposed to, lead the household the same way Jesus did, being the humble servant of the household.
By submitting to God.
Yeah, by submitting to God.
Mm-hmm.
So, a whole lot of submission going on there.
There is.
There's your rules, Autumn.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Just do what I say. I mean, how hard is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
But your answers say, always do, Dad.
Yeah. What do we say, boss man?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting now.
Yeah.
I'm just getting older. I got a senior.
I know. How do you feel about that?
Feel old.
98 days away from
Mm-hmm.
her graduating.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, Jed can relate to this too. I mean, you
got one too.
I've got a senior right
and you
there
got
with
two
her.
that's already graduated.
That's right.
It's kind of scary. The world's a weird place, and you hope that everything that you do and taught and the lessons they learn, that they'll they'll just learn how to go through life. I don't know. I'm kind of more scared, to be honest with you.
It's tough to think back and see, did I teach everything I needed to teach to have them prepared to go out and be on their own and make them decisions and
be the person they need to be.
Build our foundation, pretty much.
Your foundation. We
and
talk about that all
and
the
the
time.
world's constantly changing just enough that it's hard to know if you've got it there.
It does. It does. Well, actually, one of the Bible quotes I had just randomly looked at today, and it fits perfect. This is how the Lord works. Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Right? So, again, it's not about the people. Yes, it is the people, but it is the enemy. It is all the negative forces fighting against us as Christians. And all they're going to try to do is just make you turn away from God just a little bit. And that's all they try to do. And that's the scariest part. I really think, if you think about it in the end, is the fact that it's the whole world, as you really mean it when you say it like that, is against us.
Right.
It is.
It is.
And they'll come at you with a smile on your face, even, or on their face, and be ready to just stab you in the back or pull out from underneath you. I'm not trying to scare you, but
Well, I'm not too worried because we went through problems during high school, so I feel like I learned from those experiences, and that made me a stronger person now. So I'm not too scared as you are, I think. So,
and like
Always
you
be
said too,
prepared.
that we're always trying to build that better foundation.
Yeah.
You build
Yeah.
that good foundation now. Like I've told her too. I says once you go to the university, they're going to try to change your mind.
Oh, it's
They're going to try to, and I've seen it. I mean, we've all seen it.
You go from high school to university, it's a whole nother ballgame.
They're going to try to change your mind. And I said, if you stay strong to that foundation, stay strong with God, just fight it off.
I took I remember my freshman year of college, this was unheard of because it was like a 4,000 level class, like, the senior level courses. And they let me take it for some odd reason, but it was philosophy of religion. And it was taught by a female Methodist pastor. And this was back in like 2009. So, it was just kind of starting to come around. So a female Methodist pastor raised up as a Catholic, married to an atheist. And he sat in the classes with us. And that was some of the best discussions.
I was going to say discussions. Yeah.
Discussions / debates that I got to have. And I walked out of there with an A, surprisingly, but probably the only class my freshman year I made an A in. I know. But, I mean, it was a good one.
all right. Yeah. And personally, I think my daughter's way younger, so I'm not too worried yet. But I think a lot of the fear we have as parents comes from the fact that we were there. It happened to us.
Right.
We're not just dreaming up random stuff. We know we've had things happen that we would love to protect our children from, which is almost a fool's errand. You can't, but you can prepare them as best you can. I've thought and as Harmony grows, my plan is to, of course, share with her the mistakes I've made to hopefully tell her what I did wrong and this is how to do better, hopefully, as opposed to hiding them. I think that's something that may be good or ill, but I'm hoping it will be better to share, where I've fallen down, as opposed to
and I think
just
that
saying,
helps
"Don't
us
do
out
this."
too. If you share like what you gone through, it helps us learn from your mistakes too. So I think hiding it makes everything worse. Yeah, you have to tell us
Right, because the world
what not
kinda,
to do and what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, the world
We're
wants you
probably
to
gonna go through
hide
it,
things,
yeah.
right? They don't want you to talk about the bad things you had done or did yourself, or where you've fallen down, or where you've sinned, or all that. You're supposed to keep that inside, not share that with anybody. But and I think that's one of the reasons why I think it's not something good to do, is because that's what the world wants you to do. That's not what the Bible tells you to do.
Yeah.
Right. And we talk about all the time, we're all going to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, you show your failures, and that's how we learn. We learn from our failures.
Yeah.
If nobody knows our failures, then how are other people going to learn?
Let me shoot this out there for you, Jason.
Okay, shoot.
Oh, you actually found a quote?
Here you go. Don't tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do and let them surprise you with their results.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Okay.
Teach a man to fish, right?
Yep. I think we do that a lot too in our family. I
What?
mean, we try to teach them certain things, and like
Most of the
sometimes-
time, I don't listen until after I go through it.
Hey,
Honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty.
She's
Honesty.
honest.
Yeah.
Hey, she's honest.
After I go through it, then I'm like, oh yeah, he was right. Okay, maybe I'll listen the next time.
And then you
But
don't.
And
we're
then you
all like
don't.
that, right? I mean,
We're all like
even
that.
The
We're all
older
like
I get, I'm like, oh wait, my dad told me that. Maybe I should have paid attention. And I think that's why, like, as you become an adult and a parent, you kind of keep going, hey, listen to me. Look, I've been there. I'm still there going, oh wait, my dad was right. Listen to what I tell you. Like,
Mm-hmm. I think it says that in the Bible somewhere too.
what, that the father's always right?
They've been saying that since the beginning of time, and
Right.
kids still don't listen, and that's all right. Parents
Yeah.
are never going to stop saying it.
Yeah.
But
What'd you
sometimes
got?
we don't listen as adults either.
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I agree.
Do what?
Oh, to kids?
Do what?
I don't know. The other day I was telling Nick, I said, you always spit out all this useless information, but I said, I try to keep it, and sometimes it actually comes back, and I needed it. So
Right? My wife always tells me I got two major problems. One of them is I don't listen, and I don't remember what the other one is.
I'm surprised you
That's
heard
funny.
the first one. I usually tune out at the you don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what'd y'all say?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
A veterinarian. Large animals.
Large animals,
Yeah,
right? You're making
yeah,
that clear?
yeah, large
Yeah.
animals.
Large animals.
oh, you don't want to do fish?
No,
No,
no cats or dogs.
no chickens.
No
Oh my
chickens.
gosh.
Chickens.
Hey,
I'd put that thing down.
I'm bringing every chicken I have. I'm bringing to you.
Well, they
I don't
won't
know
come
what's
back
wrong with
alive.
it. I don't make chicken nugget.
Yeah, I like chicken nuggets.
Yeah, they'll be fresh.
Make chicken nuggets in.
Yep. The
Oh,
same thing
sorry,
Harmony
sorry,
wants to do.
chicken tenders.
She wants to be a veterinarian too.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least for now. She's 8, so
Yeah.
That may change.
yeah, it
And
probably
you're
will.
working at the vet place right now, aren't you?
Yep, in Salem Springs. Every Saturday.
Mm-hmm. How long you been there?
About 2 years. I've been interning there for about 2 years, and I just got a paid position this year in January.
All right.
Awesome.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
If Ray
exciting.
had a button of clapping, we'd do that. But,
Oh.
yeah.
That's sad.
Well, we used to have the one with buttons, but he would never
Yeah.
do it.
No.
Nope.
You gotta be cool.
I'll give you
So what
guys
do
buttons
What
someday.
do you do there?
So I usually help out the doctor, whatever she needs, like the supplies, and then I'll load the cows off the trailer, put them in the alleyway. And then sometimes, like last Saturday, I did something new. I'll answer calls.
That's new for you?
Yeah, answering the phone calls was new for
Okay.
me. At the vet clinic and talking to the patients, what's wrong with their animals, some more one-on-one work. But usually I'm helping out back with the horses and the cows and just whatever the vet needs to get done.
Cool. So go for
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And if
Like
she
it.
comes home, she's
yeah.
Oh, I'm covered in
covered in
Yeah.
crap.
yeah, head to toe. Yeah,
There it is.
but I love it.
I knew it was coming. I was waiting on it.
Wasn't me this
I was
time.
waiting on it tonight.
Yeah.
No, but you love it though.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Every
You
time I
got
come
to-
home, it's with a smile.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And even though you're there till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they close at noon.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, that's good.
So
That's
you just do that on Saturdays?
Yes.
Stay that way
8:30
through. Stay that way
8:30
through
to-
college.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because school's first.
Right. Yep.
Oh, she knows that. That's
Yeah.
like day one.
I know. Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
like,
know.
what is your number one job?
School.
School.
School?
Mm-hmm.
It's not my favorite job.
Well,
That's why they call it a job.
it is none of our favorite jobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
That went.
When you get
Randy
done with
loves
school,
school.
then you'll have the right job.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll still have that smile.
Are you sure?
Mhm.
I'm done with school.
She'll have a smile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, I
it's
love my
exciting to
jobs.
see her grow like this and see her dream, and like that's where we come from. Is we like to dream. We dream for something and shoot for it, and I think even as a parent, I think that's important for us as parents is to know your child's dream.
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. I says, what is your dream? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? And we had that discussion, and she was like, I want to be a veterinarian. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, me as a parent, I said, I'm going to get you all the way wherever you need to do, whatever you need, you know, whatever you need. And, you know, I told her, I said, well, you go through your 4 years of animal science and then you go to vet school. I said, vet school is going to be very hard. It's going to be difficult. You're going to feel like quitting.
Yeah.
But as long as I know what your goal is and that's your goal, I'm going to be there for you. You know, I'm going to push you. I'm not going to let you quit if that's your goal. And I think that's very important for us as parents to realize that our kids' goals and our kids' dreams, and to be there for them and to push them and to get them to where they want to be. Because sometimes, you know, even like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I was a little different, but, you know, my biggest dream is when I was a kid was be a cop, right? That was my biggest dream. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't care, you know. I didn't have to go to college. I didn't have to do this because I knew where I wanted to be. And, you know, my parents knew it too. They knew that's what I wanted to do. You know, they tried to do everything they possibly could do to get me there, but a lot of that was on me, and a lot of that was on self-discipline.
Well, and I think that's very important, is you can't have somebody else pushing you all the time, because then you don't want to do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a super fine line with, as parents, you can't push your kid too hard or they don't want to do it. So you have to let them, as a person, figure out what they want to do so they can drive for it.
Right.
And work for it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And
that's why you need to be careful as parents, is you can't drive them, don't push them too hard.
Yeah.
Me and Haley had a long discussion last night, since I wasn't here last night. We talked for about 2 hours, and she knows kind of what she wants to do. She's got a couple of different dreams. I mean, she hasn't been like Autumn and this is what I'm doing. I told her last night, I said, do what's going to make you happy. Whatever it is, don't shoot for the one that's going to make you rich, because rich ain't going to make you happy. Pick your dream, follow it, and I will support you 100% in whichever direction you're going. And and lots of things come up after I told her that we hadn't never really kind of discussed before.
And I think kids need to hear that too. And you can stop me if I'm wrong, but they need to hear that support from the parents on their dreams and their goals.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
100%, yeah.
And they're not your dreams, they're your goals. It's your child's dream or goal, you know?
Yeah.
It is.
And that's why we sat down that one night and I says, what do you want to do? Like, where do you want to be? Not what I want you to be or what I want you to do. Where do you want to be?
Right. Yep.
You know, I think that's very important for us to do that with our kids, is to let them pick what they want to do. You know, I see a lot of parents
push to what the
parents want. You know, I want you to go to this college. I want you to go do this, and I want you to go do this. Well, I think it's going to be a struggle for that kid. You know, you know, and then you did apply to all kinds of different colleges.
Yeah.
And you made that choice.
And I got scholarships from different colleges too, but I declined them just because I wanted to go to this certain one that I want to go to.
We kind of let you make that choice on your own. I mean, you know, in the beginning, I'm like, no, Autumn, I don't want you to go there. But, you know, I had to sit back too and say, all right, you pick.
Well, and then when you let go of that, then I was like, okay, then I'll go listen to Dad.
Yeah. I can't say Dad's right.
Yeah, exactly. I have to wait till he backs down.
It's like you said, it's a fine line between being the slave driver and being the cheerleader, right? Because you want to be there to support when they fall back, when they fall down, and not necessarily constantly shoving. Right. That's like what I'm imagining and getting from it. Again, my daughter's 8, so right now it's all just, you know, it's completely different on her end of things. But,
and we're all different too. I mean, I know me and Randy, like, I love the motivational speakers. Yeah. I love that, you know, yelling at my face and telling me, you know, you're lazy, get up and do something. You know, don't hit snooze, or, you know, you're a procrastinator. You know, I like that. That's how I drive on. Some people don't like that.
I don't. Personally don't.
Right.
Don't do that.
And your mom doesn't either.
No.
You know?
Good luck.
Why not?
Yeah. And we have to understand what kind of person they are too. You know, I like that stuff, and, you know, she don't. So I can't be yelling and screaming in her face and say you're lazy.
Yeah. It'll be a long fight.
You know, I think we all need the right type of cheerleader.
Yeah,
I mean, even as adults, even as parents, you know, getting that positive reinforcement from your spouse or even from your own children of just, you know, whatever you're trying to do, or whenever you do something, you know, that is beyond just the normal that
Yeah.
we're supposed to do. You know?
I have a question for you guys. Who pushes you? Like, for your goals? Like, I know everybody has goals in life. Like, who pushes you now? Like, as an adult? Because it's not your parents anymore, I don't think.
Like, who motivates us
Yeah,
to
who
reach 'em?
motivates you? Yeah.
Your mom.
You're not funny.
Yeah, but it is.
We don't have the
Hey, Ray
jokes,
has a
but
your mom joke in the Bible.
There's a mama joke about it, but no, it's my wife too. That's who pushes me is my wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because even sometimes she knows when I'm like down and out or being lazy or doing certain things that is not my character,
yeah.
and she'll call me out on it, and she'll be like,
Yeah, because you need it sometimes. We
Right,
all need
and-
it.
and-
Yeah.
What she does, she calls me out and she goes, "No, you're better than that."
Yeah.
And that's not the man I married. And she said that a couple times. Yeah, that's not the man I married. And I'm like, well, you're right.
You're right.
Man, I gotta do some
Step it up.
Yeah, look at myself. in the
You're
mirror.
right. There's the picture of him that last week.
Right. Yes, he was lighter. He weighed way less.
Yeah, I'm twice as much man now.
Right.
I would say that's true, but I say even Autumn, as you as a child in the house, I think our children pushes.
Mm-hmm.
Even
They
without even saying anything. It's just you being there.
I was hoping
Yeah.
she wasn't here when you said
Ow.
that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, they do, and that's what we do as men too.
Yeah.
Why do we go to work? Why do we support our families? It's for our kids and for our wife.
Yep.
Right. That's why we go and do those things, and we want to give our kids every opportunity that they can have possibly, and that's why we do the things we do. That's what
Sometimes
drives
we give
us.
too much.
That's what drives us.
What?
We can't
Sometimes
help
we
it.
give too much.
We do. We can't help it. You
Yes.
want to provide them with everything you can.
Yep.
Right. And we talked
No
about
comment.
that. We talked about that last time. Where
We did.
sometimes too much is
Yeah.
a curse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like you said Sunday. If you do too much, you're not there.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That was a good sermon, by the way.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. So, no, for me,
Yeah.
what motivates me is just knowing that I haven't reached my full potential that God's called me to do yet.
How do you know that?
Because I know God's called me into full-time pastorate, and I'm not there yet. I'm still bivocational. And I know it's not just like youth ministry is what he's called me to for a season.
Mhm.
That's not my long-term calling from him, because I love preaching. I love teaching.
Right.
I love pastoring when I can. And so that's where I'm looking to and what I'm striving for. And Taylor's pushing me along there. So
Just because there's not a close cowboy church yet.
actually there is one in Siloam.
Yes, there is.
That is currently pastorless.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of close.
Mm-hmm.
That's a ways from where you
And
are,
they have
though.
an arena, too.
They do have an arena.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a lovely drive at 5 o'clock in the morning, though.
When there's nobody else out on the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But we are one of my goals too is to own land. Like that's always been a dream of mine is to ranch and own land. And actually my big dream that I've always wanted to do, which actually sparked a question, was to be a PBR stock contractor. And so is there a dream that's too big?
No,
Yes.
Oh,
Because-
okay.
okay.
Here we go.
I don't think so. But
Let's
go
do
ahead.
it.
I think
wanna hear
so
your
because
opinion.
Fisher
when you're a big dreamer, you're gonna fail and you're gonna be disappointed in yourself. So you have to have realistic dreams too. You can't dream too big.
Yeah, but those failures are going to help you grow.
Mhm.
Those failures are going to push you to get to your big dreams. That's the thing is that sometimes
but
you don't understand is that. So here's for example, here's my example, and this is what I've gone through, and this is what I know. Is that my biggest dream was to be that cop, right? It took me almost 4 years to
But
become.
that's a realistic dream. That's not like
That's a big dream,
That's a big dream.
Not everybody can.
'Cause,
Not
yeah,
everyone
not
can do
everyone
that.
can do it.
right?
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Not everyone
okay.
can be a police officer.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah,
tell people.
I
I says,
agree.
the hiring process of being a police officer is, and a lot of people don't know this, is that, the first thing you got to do is a physical test and a written exam. If you don't pass any one of those things, you don't get to go any farther. So, like for me, when I'd go do it, one time I'd fail the physical test. Couldn't run the 1.5 miles fast enough. And then I'm like, okay, I got to try harder. I'm going to run more. I'm going to run faster. So the next time I go there, I pass the physical test, but then I couldn't pass the written. And then I'm like, okay, what do I need to study for this? And everyone says, is this common knowledge? Well, how do you study common knowledge? Right? You know, so.
You ought to know.
Right. You should know
It's
this
common.
stuff.
It's funny.
Same reason why we teach common sense in school now.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we need it.
And so I tested for multiple agencies.
Right.
You know, so everyone had their different scores and their different things that you had to do.
Yeah.
The fastest run that you had to do in a mile and a half was the Phoenix Police Department. And I can't even remember what it was. Like, I don't know. I want to say like 11 minutes and 50 seconds or something.
Holy smokes, that's fast.
I mean, I don't know. It was super fast. A mile and a half, super fast. That was the fastest run in any agency in Arizona. And so I tested for them and failed the run the first time.
Yeah.
But was able to pass it, I don't know, second, third. I don't remember what time. Because I tested almost 4 years straight.
Yeah.
And then I'd get to another spot in the background. They're like, well, this doesn't look right. I'm like, well, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But anyways, so for almost 4 years of testing and all those times of failing made me stronger because
How?
it made my goal even better and stronger because I wanted to shoot for it. And because I said, no one's going to stop me from completing my dream. Nobody.
Yeah.
And that's the way our mindset should be. You know, I just heard today too that Michael Jordan missed 9,000 shots, 9 or whatever it was, like 9,000 shots.
Yeah.
But he's one of the best basketball players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to miss that many times and still be the best. So that shows you your failure.
Yeah.
So like for me, I did everything that I could possibly do. And it was funny that I started working at the police department as a civilian. So I started off with their CSI division.
Right.
And I started off volunteering there, like what Autumn's doing right now at the vet. I started volunteering, get my name out there, saying, hey, I want to be an officer, you know, whatever. Anything I could get my foot in the door.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then I got a paid position there as a contract civilian. So almost what you're doing right now. Finally got paid 2 years later.
Apple doesn't fall from the tree.
No, it don't. It doesn't. And I know that.
That took a long time to get that sentence out.
And I know these struggles
hard.
because I lived them, and I know what they're all about in these dreams. And like Jed knows all the time, I dream big.
Mm-hmm.
And so it came down to 2 agencies, and I passed both. Well, let me rewind a little bit. I did the volunteer, got paid, and then there was a position that opened up in the jail. So I started off. I got that position in the jail. So I started off in the jail, and then during that time, I think I worked there
Is that
1 or 2 years. I think 2 years. I worked in the jail for 2 years, and I told my wife, I says, I'm gonna go test one more time. If I don't if I don't get it this time, then I guess I'm not meant to be a cop.
Mm-hmm.
But in the back of my mind, I was like, this can't be my last time. But I tested for both agencies, made it all the way up to the background check. And it was funny because the Phoenix agency calls me and says, hey, we'd like to offer you the job. Blah, blah, blah. You passed all the tests. But I see that you applied for Glendale at the same time. I'm like, yeah. And they go, well, I think Glendale's going to pick you up. They're going to hire you as an officer. And I'm already working for Glendale Jail. And I'm like, I don't care. You know, whoever picks me up, I don't care where I go. And I'm like, and I was telling the back, I remember her too. I think her is like Detective Williams. And she goes, well, I know. We really like to have you. I'm like, yeah, I'd prefer to go to Phoenix. You know, there was thousands of officers, a bigger town. Mm-hmm. Well, if something don't work out with Glendale, you just call me, you know? So like a week later, the background investigator calls me from Glendale and goes, okay, yep. Why don't we meet at this day? I go up there in his office and here's your job offer. This is when you start the academy, la, la, la. And I'm like, oh,
True.
I just made it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like it was so amazing. And it was funny because I'm like, okay, now the police academy it was down in Phoenix, and that's where all the agencies went, you know. And I was like, okay. When I lived way across town, I'm like, how's this going to work out? I mean, it's so far, but I don't care. I don't care. I'll make it work. Well, they said that was the time that Glendale built their big training facility. And they says, well, you guys are going to be guinea pigs. We're going to have our first academy class there. And that was only 15 minutes away from the house. All right. Awesome. So we were the first and the only academy class out of that.
But
What-
can I
what
say
did
something?
you do?
I know. Yeah.
So when you're following your dream, were you close to God at that time too?
Yeah.
You were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my issue too when I was struggling was when you dream too big, I push away God. Like that's one of my issues.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying like if you dream too big, you're not. That's unrealistic. I feel like.
It
Well,
depends.
see-
I could see it depends on what type of dreams you're talking about, and there are times where I could definitely know what you'd mean by that. You know, when I was out in Hawaii, our dream was to get our own farm out there and get our own bit of land out there and have
Right.
our own little piece of something. And to do that, it morphed and changed because my wife got sick, and then the job I had been working wasn't panning out anymore, so I had to find a new job. And you know, working for a couple of these different farmers out there, you know, they couldn't afford to pay me enough. So in my mind, I was like, I got to get them to a position where they're making more money because then they can pay me more money. That was in my mindset. And that's why I put in so many hours. I wasn't godly at that time. I wasn't going to church, but
You're so
I
busy
gave up
chasing that
family.
dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave up lots of family time. I kind of, you know, I was literally working 70 hours a week away from the house, you know, sun up till sundown to try to chase a dream. And it took a few years, and my wife and I had a rough patches through that too before, you know, we were like, okay, you know, it was a failure in the end, but I gained things from it. I learned things from it. And to the point of one of the issues I think that is different from our generation and the current generation is, I don't want to say you're taught not to fail, but they don't allow you to fail, right? Everybody
Yeah.
gets participation trophies.
Right.
Everybody gets a ribbon. So there is no failure anymore. So then there is this fear of failure that gets, and we were on the cusp of that. Like they were even starting to do that type of stuff with our generation, right? Like,
Well, yeah, I think that's true because that's how I am. Like I'm afraid to fail too. I don't want to fail.
yep. You go look at anybody out there who is super successful.
They
failed a lot,
Yeah.
A lot.
right? You see the success they had, and you're like, I want that. You didn't see the 5-6 times before that they just
Yeah.
fell flat on their
Yeah,
face.
right. Yeah, we don't see
Well,
that.
and that's what determines, right? I mean, we listen to this all the time, Randy. You know, from a winner aspect of this, and the motivational stuff is that everybody's going to get knocked down. What separates you is how fast you're going to get back up, how fast you're going to fight, how fast are you going to go shoot for that dream.
Yeah.
I'll shoot these out here. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to petty success.
What?
Do it.
Let me say it again.
You sound like Autumn,
Yeah.
man.
Don't be afraid
Thinking
to
is
fail.
hard.
Don't be afraid to failure. Be afraid of petty success.
Gotcha.
And
Little
I'll-
success.
And
Yeah.
I'll throw this out here too. Struggles are required in order to survive in life, because in order to stand up, you got to know you got to know what falling down is like.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean,
Because if
but
you don't know how it is to fail or to fall down, then your expectations are way too high.
yeah,
I believe that you know your expectations are going to be like, oh, everything's going to be perfect. But when failure does come, you're going to know how to handle that. You're going to go, okay, this didn't work. You know, there's tons of business owners out there and successful people that have failed at other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
What they do? They started another one up. They went and they kept moving. They kept moving forward.
we owned an ambulance company that my stepmom started in '94, ran it till 2018. She wanted to run a tanning salon on top of that, so we opened that and we ran it for 2 years and shut it down.
Right.
You know, but we had this successful ambulance company that kept going well past the tanning salon. And that was the thing, was we were like, we're good at this, but you know, yeah, this was your dream, but we weren't going to be able to
if you're going to
succeed.
fail if you don't try?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You miss every shot you don't take.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's hard
You
to
know.
step out on that limb every once in a while and take
Yeah,
that
It
leap.
is.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's at, is it's that fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
we have a fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's a
agree, yeah.
fear. But you got to switch that around and have a healthy fear of failure.
Yeah.
It has to be a healthy fear.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
like,
What does that look like?
Yeah.
You got to know what's going to happen
Yeah, you got to
because
know.
it's something
I
to be
mean,
handed to
I
you.
think of like the best bull riders out there. They know they're going to get bucked off. They
Yeah.
know they're going to break bones. They know they're not going to win championships, but they're going to fight every day
Yeah,
to
that's
be
a good
the
way to look
best
at
in the
it.
world
Mhm.
to win the NFR, the PBR, whatever it is. I mean, they're going to fight. They're going to get in the practice pen. They're going to ride the practice bulls. And that's the same with us. We got to fight. We got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and we got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you're going to fall off. You're going to get bucked off the horse, whatever. It's going to happen, but you've got to get back up.
Did you hear the interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Remember that one?
May have. It's been a while.
I listened to it again today, and you know
Yes,
he's gone through a lot too, and his what he says all the time is that I never had a plan B.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I always had a plan A because there's nobody going to stop me to complete my plan A.
Mhm.
You know, and he goes, failure is going to come with it. You know, that's what he said too. He goes, I wanted to be, you know, world champion bodybuilder. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to, you know, the farthest he can go, he wanted to be president, but the farthest he could go is be governor of California.
Yeah.
So during all of those times, he struggled. He got told no multiple times on movie sets.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't want you. We don't want a muscular guy. We don't want a guy with an accent. We don't got a guy that can't speak very well. But now look where he's at because of those failures along the way. And I think those are healthy failures because what he did, he goes, there's no plan B for me. There's plan A. And then when I failed here, I just kept going and I kept moving.
I think that no should be more of a motivational than a disappointment.
It is.
Yeah.
And you say that all the time, Randy, is that, you know, people say no, and they're the, what did they say?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
no.
no's
No,
not
he
an
turned that
option.
no into yes.
Yeah.
But
No is not an option.
But with your dream, too, you got a plan.
Yeah.
Right?
You have
Yeah.
to.
You've got a dream.
But it has to be God's plan. You can't make a huge dream for yourself. It's not God's plan because it's gonna fail.
So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
If the dream is placed in your heart, if that's your dream, if your dream is to be a vet,
Right.
is that God's will?
I think so. Yeah.
How do you know?
Because He put that in my heart, and He said everything. He lined up everything for me. Because like at the vet clinic, when I asked the intern, they said no.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But I don't take no for an answer. So.
Right.
So I told them I
Eliminates
needed
too many options.
I needed the hours for vet school, and then they let me intern. Next thing you know, I have a paid position, and now I have this passion to work with these animals and talk to the patients.
But I want to bring this up real quick because this is very interesting to this whole story.
Oh,
Is that when
geez.
you talk about God's will? So we first got the horses, and we didn't have a trailer or nothing, so we
Right.
had to get a vet out there to get Coggins,
Right.
right?
Oh yeah, that's a
remember
good
those
story.
days.
Yeah, and it's a good story because we called vets all over, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we don't do house calls. You have a shoot? No, we don't have nothing." So we did call the Siloam one, and they sent out
Dr. McCarver.
Dr. McCarver, which very rarely ever goes on house calls
House
for
calls, yeah.
Coggins.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
barely.
he don't do that
Yeah.
because
it's so hard.
Unless it's for emergencies only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it wasn't
that's
an
it.
emergency. Yeah.
So he happened to come out, and Autumn's there. So they get talking,
Yeah.
conversation, and what did he tell you?
that they have intern positions available at the vet clinic.
Yeah, why don't you come and do that? So I
So
think
I-
that's what started that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
and I think it's just a great thing, and I think for us, and I think for Autumn too. And you talk about God's will, and that's what your dream. I think God lines a lot of things up. God
Yeah.
puts people in your life to go and motivate you on that dream.
And I didn't realize that until I guess recently, like this year, I've been struggling with this is my goal because I always wanted to be a horse trainer. Like that was my first goal in mind is train horses, and that's why I got that job at the ranch is so I can learn more about horses. But I wasn't happy, and that wasn't my will. I guess that wasn't God's plan because I was always upset. I was always disappointed in myself because I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized this being a vet is God's will for me, God's plan for me.
But we got to also think, too, that maybe those dreams that we fail at may have been God's plan as well, because that gives us the strength to move on.
And we learn from those failures. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I learned a lot. Yeah.
I think he.
So
Turn off his microphone.
before we move on, I'm going to give you the motivation one right now because I'm going to hold off because this is going in the same direction. when life puts you in a tough situation, don't say why me, say try me.
Right.
So
and know that God will come with you wherever you go too.
But I think too, like back to God's will and figuring all that out was, I'd always wanted to be a cop. That's what I wanted. And when I left ministry for those 2 years, I went into the law enforcement side of things, and I was miserable. And I think God, even though that is not his big will for your life in certain areas, he allows you to step into that to see where you need to be
and learn for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. He allowed me to get into that to see that no, that's not what he wants for me, and that's why I was miserable. And that was the same thing for you at the ranch, I think.
But I loved it, but at the same time, it's like, this is not meant for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, especially as Christians, when you're doing something that you're like, oh man, I don't know, I don't think this is.
You're not at your full potential yet. Yeah,
you're not reaching who you're meant to be.
Yep.
And I think when you're talking to God and you're in God's Word, we always talk about, it makes His plan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, just it highlights His plan for you more.
Makes it clearer.
It does.
Yeah, it makes it clearer.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think having trustworthy people around you too to help reaffirm that in your life.
And we drive each other.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, if
we wouldn't be around this table if you didn't drive each other.
Right.
We all do.
Right.
Chug a love.
Right.
But also too, to add to that, God will probably put you in a position where you can have that as your mission field, make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So that goes to my next quote. Your testimony in Jesus Christ isn't just what you say, it's who you are.
Yeah.
So they may be seeing something in you that they're helping you to grow into as well.
Yep.
And I think we need to be like that as parents too, is encouraging our kids all the time and like being the cheerleader. And if they have that goal and that dream, we don't need to be negative Nancy and be like, you're not good enough to do that, or you're not capable, or you're not smart enough. No, I mean, we need to be encouraging, be like, hey, I know you can do it.
Hey, good job, Autumn.
Right.
Yep. Help them with the process. As I've mentioned, and I've been saying it since I heard it, you can set a goal for yourself, but you, again, and this is not my quote, again, I'm stealing it, I don't remember who said it, but you can't just rise to a goal. You will fail to the process if you don't. You need to say, this is where I want to get. What are the steps? How do I get there? What do I got to do? What grade do I have to have? What school do I have to go to? How many hours do I have to put in? Those are all things that you put in place and you plan and you work and you can get there.
Well, just like last night, this whole week I was staying up till 1 o'clock studying for a Chem 2 test. And Mom, she helped me last night to study for it too, because she knew how important it was to me to pass this test. So I can be able to pass that class this year. It's hard. It's kicking my butt.
Well, I picked Colby up from track practice today, and when he was coming back, and his phone went crazy, and he's getting text messages from the drama group, and drama's kind of one of his things.
Yeah, he likes drama.
Yeah, he likes drama.
Yeah, the
theater. Yeah.
Clear that up. Clear that up.
The kid that graduated last year, his name was Tanner. He got another post on him. Somebody had sent a message. He already had a position at JBU in a program before he graduated high school. So now, as a freshman, he told me, he said, Tanner has already produced all the music and, 2 or 3 different things for this play that's coming this weekend. This kid's good. I said, sounds like Tanner's really going to go somewhere. Kobe said, yep, I think he'll make it real good on Broadway or something. I said, yeah, or he won't go nowhere. As long as he just keeps trying. I said, sometimes just following your dream and working hard, you might not ever get noticed until right before you die.
Right. Yeah. Or even after.
Or even after.
So
there's
a lot of scientists who don't get noticed till after. You've got to follow that dream and keep
that push all the way through.
Yeah, I've got a buddy. I just seen the video yesterday. Haven't seen him in a long time, but his boy plays football for Bentonville, and he got his long time dream. He sat down and signed with OSU football yesterday, and boy, every video they post on their football, you just see how hard that boy works. The coach is sitting here going, I had him on offense and defense. Every second of the game he was playing.
I'm glad he chose wisely.
You know what? Now I got a reason to watch OSU. So, no, that's awesome. I mean, I told Amanda I'm not ready for that, but I'm ready for her to succeed. You know, I mean, I got 2 years before she even thinks about college, but well, I mean, the process of going to college at that point. But I was like, man, it's just awesome to see kids just sit down and follow their dreams and see how much hard work they put in.
Say that hard work, that dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not a big fan for kids that just get handed to them. And there's no
It'll fall apart.
Yeah.
They've shown it over and over again.
Exactly.
It's a generational wealth thing is a good example of that, because you can look at routinely families who, unless they get to a certain level of wealth, usually within just 2 generations, it's gone. Because the kids of the first generation that gains the wealth, they typically work hard for it. They accomplish things. They build something.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the next generation is okay at maintaining it, but they didn't have to build it, so they don't know how to build it.
Right.
And then you get to that third generation that doesn't know how to maintain it and doesn't know how to build it.
Right.
And that's when it typically all falls apart.
Yep.
And it even happens to some of the the wealthiest people in history. Their families at a certain point, they're just gone. It's all gone.
Well, it's like your grandpa's ranch in Colorado. Nobody knew how to take care of it, or
and all they wanted was money.
Yep.
I had a
But
curveball.
even that young man too. I mean, we can talk about all of our kids. It's that heart.
Yep.
Right. We don't care where you come from, what you know, or anything.
Yep.
If you have that heart to do it, you're gonna succeed.
Oh yeah.
You'll succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it over the last 2 years with my daughter with this wrestling. I figured the first little throw down, smack down, whatever, the pain that she got, she was going to throw the towel in. But boys, man, 2 years later, she's reversing the roles and giving everybody else a little bit of pain too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my goodness,
It's cool to watch too.
It is. It's clicking
fun.
in, and I'm
Yeah.
like, she's having fun now. I mean, it's not all dad just yelling at her, But it's like, man, it's sure nice to see things when they click in and they work hard, and they get what they want in life.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So I don't think you can dream too big. That's my opinion.
That's
There's no-
your opinion.
That's my opinion. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody who's going to stop you.
Yeah, I mean, and if you fail and give up on the dream, that's just you giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I've always said you never truly fail until you stop trying.
Right.
And
That's when you actually fail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You
That's
might
true.
say, "Oh, I failed." Oh, you done then? Because then
Right.
yes. But if
Yeah.
you're going to try again, no, you haven't failed
you
yet.
didn't fail. You
You're still
you
on
had
your
a
way.
setback.
Yeah.
What does Eric Thomas say? We don't stop going until the dirt's over us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just keep going.
I got one from ET right here. I was about to say, don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going.
Mhm.
Right?
I
Right.
mean,
And if that dream's unreachable, you're still gaining
Yep.
Yeah.
if you never give up.
Yeah, but
So-
I don't think there's a
What-
dream that's
I was
unreachable.
about to say, what makes it unreachable?
Yeah, I don't think there is.
If you keep striving, man.
Um,
If you keep striving,
I have an example.
You keep moving forward, but yet sometimes your mind, you set that goal a little farther out too.
Yeah, I mean, because I think of...
I mean, I'm thinking like autumn. I'm thinking
Yeah.
that big dream.
Because I
What?
think of, like, in the, like...
Yes, Autumn.
A few of us are on the weight loss journey, right? Trying to lose a little bit of weight, get back in
Is that a
shape.
fat
And,
joke?
no, that's the truth of myself. And, because, like, some of... When I think about that, because I've had several people that over my journey have asked, how did you get to where you've dropped 50 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever, to feel the way you do? And I just had to tell them, like, on that, because what happens is a lot of people, they set the big goal.
Right.
They see themselves, they're like, oh, I weigh 200. Like, for myself, it was like, I weigh 275 pounds. I want to be down to 225. I'm going to lose all this weight, 50 pounds, whatever.
Right.
That's not realistic
No, it's not.
at the moment. So it was like, okay, this week I'm going to lose 2 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my 2 pounds. This week I'm going to lose 2 pounds. I lost my, and it just kept building up.
Right.
Right. It's a,
And so I don't know, like, I think you can in that aspect set too big of a dream, because then it's like, oh,
Yeah, I
that's
guess
what I
that's
want to
how-
get
that's
to.
how I am, yeah.
And I was like, when I said, oh, I'm just going to lose 50 pounds, I'm going to get down to 225. I haven't reached 225 yet. And when I first started, I was like, oh, this is miserable. I'm not going to make it. And I would give up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but then I remember my mama didn't raise no quitter, and so I get back into it. But I mean that is, I see a lot of people on that same weight loss journey that sets those big goals
Right.
to get to, instead of looking at the weekly or even the monthly little goals
Or daily.
I
mean, I'm going to wake up at 4:30. I'm going to,
yeah,
instead of 5, I'm going to wake up at 4:30 and go to the gym. I'm going to,
but it's a
daily.
mindset. Yeah.
It is. What's discipline?
Right.
Doing the things you don't want to do.
I didn't
That's
want to
what
go run
discipline
today.
is.
I did not want to go run today. After the day that we had at school, I was like, I really just don't want to go run.
Hey,
But I was
Daniel.
like, I've got to,
Hey,
Yep.
you know, because
Got
I got a race on Saturdays. It's part of it. But
do you know people who run? We're not the food anymore. We don't need to run.
I run so I don't punch people in the face.
But that reminds me of the old adage, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's it.
I heard that today actually on
Yeah.
my podcast.
I hear that quite often from my boss.
Yeah.
He's like, "There's a car, tear it apart, one piece at a time."
Yeah.
Now
I
I'm
mean,
like,
and that's,
I got my saw here. Let me cut it all up.
you know, but that's every part of life.
It is.
Whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to gain muscle, whether you're
Whatever.
striving for your dream, it's one step at a time.
That's it.
It's one bite at a time. It's one piece at a time. You know, you talked about breaking horses, Autumn, and training horses. You know, that was your dream to do
Yeah.
at one point. And the thing is, like, you're not going to get a horse and just train it like that.
Oh yeah, I know. It
You
takes
know,
like
and
years.
it's, right, and it's the same way with our dreams. Is it takes time to get there. It's gonna take the hours and the sweat and the many running shoes that I've gone through.
It takes a lot. It doesn't matter what goal it is.
Right. No,
Even
it
like the
doesn't.
horse training thing. Maybe that's later in life.
Right.
That's later.
And that
Right.
may be, the vet may be building into that. You
Mhm.
may become a
Yeah.
vet, and who knows? Maybe at your vet office you may offer a service to train horses.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That'd be crazy. But
But you
know,
might meet
maybe
clients
you
that
might.
you're trying to train
Exactly.
horses on the side, or
Exactly.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you may, you may have that vet office and it's somebody that trains horses that has to bring it to you, and then, now you're hooked up with all these horse trainers
Mhm.
to be a vet for them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows
Who
what's going to
knows?
happen?
You have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yep.
That horse training dream may not be for you specifically, but for you to be somewhat involved in that industry.
Yeah.
I mean,
And these goals and dreams don't happen overnight.
no,
No.
not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all.
Make
Well,
life easier.
You were saying you had an
Well,
example
then
of what
you wouldn't have any struggle.
Right.
So then you wouldn't build your dream.
You wouldn't build
Yeah.
your life. You wouldn't build your character. I think
No, right.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
true.
struggling on your dreams is what builds your character a little bit too.
Yeah. And you can learn from that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. I see.
Dad, you are not here.
Wheels are turning. She's going, oh, Dad was right. I remember him saying this to me.
Yeah.
Last month,
I didn't like it at the
Dad
time.
was right, Jar.
I'd be broke.
I'd be rich.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be broke because it'd be in your dad's jar.
But then, and that's what we are as a family. That's
Yeah.
where she knows that, both me and her mom are, I don't know, dreamers, and nothing stops us.
Yeah.
We find something and we just shoot for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So an interesting thing I was going to throw in, because I didn't actually really have a dream when I was growing up. When I got out of high school, I went to college for something. I was like, oh, I'm good at this. I like computers. I'll go to college for computer engineering. That's what I'll do. And then found out I was like, I don't really like all that much. Like, I like computers, but that's not what I want to do. And I've done so many different things in my life. I have not had a course. I've not had a path. I've not had this is where I'm heading and what I want to do. But now that I look back, I guess my dream was always just, again, to have a family, I guess, is really all I wanted. A family, a home, to be able to just have those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess the only reason I wanted to throw that out there is because there probably are some people listening who might say, well, I don't know what my dream is. And I think it's okay to not have a specific dream. It's okay to say, I don't want to become a doctor. I don't want to become a this. I don't know what I want to do. It doesn't have to be a career dream. It doesn't have to be, it could even be a biblical dream. Again, I wasn't saved at that time, so it didn't have that going on either. But one of my favorite quotes from actually from Tolkien is always, all those who wander are not lost, or not all who wander are lost.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that everyone who wanders is not lost. But anyway, I went all over. I've done all kinds of things, and all those little things have led me to where I am now. And I still wouldn't say I have. I mean, my dream that I have currently right now is just for my wife and I to buy a house sometime again. To own property again. And so it's okay to also just have a short dream. A dream that's just a few years out, or just a year out, right?
Because I was just about to say, like, as you were going with that, if we had people listening that are about to go off to college or are in college now that are going, man, I don't have a dream of what I want to be. I don't know what I want to do. I didn't either. I mean, I went to college. I graduated, went to college because I knew that's what was expected and what I needed to do, or at least I thought. And so I went to college, and I wound up squeezing 4 years of college into 8 and changed my major like 4 or 5 different times. And, because I had no idea.
And I feel that that's probably more common than
it
not.
is now. Yeah.
I think you've got a real blessing, Derek, to have Autumn on a track.
Yeah.
Now, don't be surprised if she's halfway through school and she goes, I'm going this way.
No, she's not.
That is not allowed.
That's not allowed.
I have no comment.
I'm like Daniel. I went into college with going for animal science, ended up coming out of college with ag econ and sales and marketing.
Exactly. I went in for nursing and came out with criminal justice, and I don't do anything with it. I teach and do youth ministry. So I'm like,
and then by the time I was 30, I decided I was going to be an auctioneer. So
Prove it.
Yeah.
Let me
shut him down.
Yep. let me ask this question then, because I don't know what it's like not to dream.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, me too.
Okay, so on like this question to you guys that didn't have those dreams. Now, was there things like you said you started college to go to animal science, and you went to college to do certain things, and you went to college. What stopped you from doing that? Like, what was the moment that says, you know what, this was my dream, this was my goal, but those certain things just stopped you? Was it failure, or was it just saying I don't have interest in this no more, or what were those things? That's my question to you.
Mine was I took an ag econ class that I fell in love with, and of course I've always had a background in sales and marketing, so I went with the econ with the minor in the sales and marketing. I didn't see where the animal science was going to put me where I wanted to go, and it's just I fell in love with that class. It was the hardest class I ever took.
The ag.
Yeah. Ag econ was the hardest. I mean, my final test was 6 Scantrons, which I don't know how many questions is on them anymore because I haven't seen one, but 6 Scantrons, 250 multiple choice, and 4 essays.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they get harder as you go.
And I loved it.
And you loved it.
I loved it.
Mine was
crazy.
Money.
Yours was money?
Mine was money. It wasn't school I went after, but the dream of mine. Go ahead and laugh when you hear this, but it was acting. I actually had an acting audition in Dallas, and I blew the agents away, and they said you're going to Florida, and I couldn't afford the trip, so I didn't get to succeed in that one, but I did a macaroni commercial.
For real?
And it was.
Do you have a video of it?
Is this
It
a legit
wasn't
story?
No, it's
published.
legit. Yeah, I've heard it.
It wasn't published, but I did it in front of the audience, everybody, every talent that was there, all the agents in there, and boy, you had to do a 1 and 30-second commercial.
How old were you?
18. 19, something like that.
That's a really cool story, Randy.
I never knew that about you.
I
I've known you this long.
And here it is.
He's the macaroni kid.
Here it is. I went down there and had no clue what we was doing. I passed my first audition in Fayetteville, and they said, you're going to Dallas. So I pulled the money up to go to Dallas, went down there, and boy, I had, like I said, had one out of Florida, and one I think was, I can't remember where the other state they wanted me to go. But yeah, you get down there and they tell you, we need you to come up with a minute and 30-second commercial. Nothing. We're not giving you anything. You go do it. You got this long to do it. They had open trials until then. Boy, I tell you what, I don't get very nervous at times, but when you got over 1,000 people in a crowd and you got judges up there, I kind of like, I need about 20 minutes to study, and I'll be right back. And they all just kind of was like, okay, whatever. 20 minutes, I come back, and I said, I'm next on stage. I don't care who's in line. I'm walking up there. And I went up there, and boy, I tell you what, I blew everybody away. It was funny. I don't know where it came from, but I'm not funny. But boy, I tell you what, the best part was my mom and my brother and my grandma was with me. So we was in the motel. I said, hey, I need you guys to run to the store and get me an apron and a chef's hat. And I don't know where I was really going with it. I just popped it off. So when I got back, I had a magic marker on there, and I said, just kiss the cook or whatever, something stupid. And I walked out there, and boy, everybody was dead silent, and I hate when it's dead silent. I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to do. So I just started off, and, I can't remember the whole thing, but boy, I mean, just 10 seconds in, and people were just laughing, and I'm like, hey, quit laughing, because I can't remember what I'm supposed to say now. So I went on for a minute and 30, and boy, I just stepped off stage, and they had 2 or 3 people. You're going this way, come on this way. And I was like, yeah. Now you got to pay to go to Florida. No. So it was a $5,000 trip, and
Wow.
couldn't do it.
That was it.
That was it.
Wow.
That was into my acting career. So.
That's kind of cool, though.
But it was
I
fun.
never knew that.
That was fun. Now you know.
Learn something
So
new every day.
What's changed then?
Yeah.
What's changed what?
Because
You can get
You
back
said
into
you were
acting.
you can get back into acting. You said you're funny, and
I'm not funny.
We think you're
pulled
funny.
I pulled it out one time, all right? But yeah, that was fun. That was one situation that I don't know where I would have gone with it, but that would have been fun just to
See how far you would have went.
just one. Yeah,
Yeah.
how would
could have
your
been on
life have
Yellowstone.
been different?
I'd
You know,
probably be
that's a-
driving my Chevelle by now. That's how different I wanted it to be. But yeah, so my second dream was to be able to restore cars, and boy, look at me, 40
doing
years
that
old,
now.
finally got there.
There you go.
So
Crushing
Yep.
it.
So
It takes
yeah.
time sometimes, right?
So money got in my way.
Money.
It
Yeah.
was not, and I was prepared for failure because small town kid being dumb. I'm gonna go try out for acting. Yeah, that's great. I walk up there. My first audition. This is how dumb it was because my wife tells me how dumb it was. It was a 30-second intro or 30-second intro. I guess you go up there and you had to really what I had was like 15 seconds, so I dramatized it for a little bit. But I did a scene from Fast and Furious, and they're like, "Yep, you're going." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "That movie just came out a year ago, and you're going to take me because I said something." So yeah, so I that one there, they wanted you to just come prepared with something that was already planned. So I did that, and then I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. I had my leather jacket on and everything, buddy.
That's so funny.
Yeah, huh?
Nothing.
What'd you say? What'd you say? That was corny.
I said that was so cool.
Yeah, my wife's like, that was so dumb. I was like, yeah, but I made it.
It worked.
But yeah, so yeah, the first edition was, I don't know where I was in my mind there, but it just seemed like it was fun and everything. Like you said, I thought it was an open door for me. And like I said, I wasn't about to break my back for $5,000 to go down there. I'd have liked to take a vacation to Florida. I hadn't been there in a long while, but but yeah, that was fun.
There you go.
Yep.
What about you?
I don't know. So of course I started out with nursing because I loved working on the ambulance and helping people. That was something that I just loved doing, and so So I went to school for nursing, did about a year of my nursing prereqs, and my dad wanted me to take over the business. So I hung up my nursing dream for a business dream. Took one semester of business classes and looked at my dad and was like, that's not for me. And so that's when I switched to criminal justice, because that was another thing that I wanted to do, was actually go federal agency.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I mean, that was, I was like, that's going to be so sweet. I get to be, could be feds because I got a 4-year degree and da-da-da. I finished it out, just that way I had a degree underneath my belt, in case something ever came up. But, when God has called you to do something, nothing you do will take that calling away. Like if it is like,
as long as you follow that.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. I was trying to think of the words to phrase. So like God placed that calling of ministry in my life, right? And so it didn't matter how much of my college I was going to do, that calling of ministry was not going to leave, Now, of course, if I would have gone off the deep end and ran as far away from God as possible, he would have taken that and removed that from me. But so I just didn't chase the federal agency dream because I knew what God's called me to do. And every church I've been at for 12 years of ministry has always been bivocational. And when you have a criminal justice degree, there's not a lot of second jobs that really,
right.
Especially trying to be in the law enforcement world and be in the church world at the same time. It's so hard to coexist. I know some people that can do it, but my strength was not there. And so teaching was a passion of mine. I love teaching. I love working with kids, and so I went back for education, and I got it. And I failed. Geez, I probably failed the praxis test.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Because you've got, like with the praxis for education, you've got reading, math, writing that you have to do of those core, and then you have the subject content area that you want to teach, and then you have what they call the PLT. So like math, I passed on the first time. No, reading, I passed on the first time, and my wife was like, "How did you pass that reading comprehension test so easy? That was a struggle for me." I said, "Because I read the Bible."
King James Version.
Right? Because like when you're doing ministry, you got to read it and comprehend it to be able to regurgitate it to the people. And so I was like, that one was easy for me. Math, I failed like 3 times. Writing, I failed twice. Social studies, I failed 5 times. But I finally passed it. Barely, but I passed it. And so, that's something that I enjoy doing. I don't see that as my long term, because that's, like I said, God's will for me is ministry in the church. And that's something I've struggled with, to be honest, in my prayer time, going, all right, God, is that really, because you've allowed education to open up for me, is ministry really what you want me to do? And I'm like, I just don't feel it. I don't know it. Like seminaries never come in front of me, because every church I've talked to, it's like, oh, do you have seminary? No. Okay. Do you have seminary? No. Okay. And so like, I'm like, all right, God, then whatever.
Some of the best pastors don't have seminary.
I know. So, I've got education, and I'm going to do it during the season that God allows me to do it. But I know ministry is what it is, whether that's at a cowboy church, whether that's at a Baptist church some way, whatever it is. But that's, So I haven't achieved the full dream yet, of course. Still chasing, still running.
You're still under construction.
We all are.
You're still under
construction.
We all are. Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
So,
what about you, Ray?
Well, I if you would have asked me before I became saved, I would have said money as well, because that was actually why I had to stop going to college. Because the second semester about halfway through, my second year, about halfway through the first semester of my second year, I got a letter from the university saying you need to pay like $2,500 right now to continue going to school. And I'm like, I don't have $2,500. I couldn't get it. My parents couldn't give it to me. I was already gotten all the grants and loans I could get. I didn't get a scholarship because my senior year, my senioritis was so bad. I had late arrival, 3 lunches, and early release. That was my senior year.
I wish that was mine.
I was too smart for my own good, right? I was in all the advanced classes, passed out of everything super fast. I could just breeze through it like it was no problem. And I hit the end of the challenge. And what I should have done my senior year is gone to college, taken the PSEO and just gone straight into college, but I didn't. And there, again, I could blame it on all kinds of different things. I've said before the past 2 that was when my father was taking a real tough turn, and he had to quit working, and life was changing, and that definitely does mess with you some. But the reason I said I would have said money back then though is because I was working full time at the time to help support myself and pay for food and all that type of stuff. There was this weird spot I existed in because of my dad getting all the assistance. He was on Social Security and Medicaid and all that. They count that as all his income. And so my mom had a job too, and they're like, well, your parents make plenty of money. It's like, yeah, but my dad's medical bills eat up more than that. Like they completely drain everything. They got nothing. And they, that you can't fill that out on a FAFSA form. There's not an option for that. So I could have, but again, the reason I say that I would have said money, but now what I'd say, it was actually just my sin. And I had to look it up real quick, statute of limitations, because I had
7 years for felony.
5 years for what I was doing. So I'm fine.
Okay.
I had become a drug dealer. That's what I became. And money got me, I was spending all the money I was making on partying. That's what I was doing. So again, like I said, I was too smart for my own good. I could just get through things without trying at all. And I didn't have anyone to push me. I didn't have anyone to say, okay, if you're doing this so well, here's the next step, do the next thing. And I don't blame my parents for this. They were wrapped up in what they had to do. My mom was a full-time caregiver for my dad, and my dad was, going through an illness that was, eventually going to claim his life eventually. And it was just tough for everybody. But anyway, so I got that letter that said you need to pay $2,500, and I'm like, I don't got it. I don't think I can get it. And you're going to give me, like 2 weeks to come up with it. And I said, whatever. And I just walked away. So, that was the end of my college career. I did, I went for a year and half a semester, and that was it. And then I just, drifted aimlessly for actually quite a few years, just, living the life of the party, hanging out with all kinds of different people, the different scenes that were going on at the time. And when I say I was a drug dealer, I wasn't like some, crazy like Netflix movie type drug dealer, not like that. But it was,
snapping rubber bands.
Right. I wasn't stuffing shoe boxes full of cash, but
right.
But that was because me and my roommates at the time, we just used it to fuel our lifestyle. We just used it to have fun. That's literally all we did. Again, I would say that was just our sin now. That's all we were seeking after at the time. So. And it didn't last forever. After a while, I was like, okay. When I say a while, I think it was like 3 or 4 years of doing that and realizing that, I was borderline alcoholic and that just, I was like, this is not going to get me anywhere. Like you can have a lot of fun just spinning in place. That's all you're doing. So that was what removed, I guess that part of the dream from me. And then it's strange. I've continually had these different things where I'm doing this and I'm like, this is great. I could see myself doing this for a really long time. And then something comes up and either the rug's pulled out or something else comes along and away I go. There was a few years there where I was managing a pizza place and just loving it. Loved coming in, opening it up, getting everything ready, just had really enjoyed that atmosphere and just the whole thing. I was like, I could see myself really doing this. Like, I want to own my own pizza place someday. And I was building towards that idea. And then the lady who owned the 4 pizza places, I managed one of them. A buddy of mine managed another one of them. And he was the area manager. So we were kind of all building this thing together. And it was right at the beginning when online gambling started, and she got addicted. The owner got addicted to online gambling and lost all her money. And we literally showed up one day, and it was like doors are locked, stores, everything's repossessed because she has no money. I didn't even get my last paycheck, right? It was like, yeah, you're not going to get paid. Sorry. And so, that changed. And the next thing you know, I'm managing a Valvoline. And I'm like, yeah, I really like working on cars. And there was one of the guys there. His dad had a shop, and he was going to take over the shop from his dad. And we were talking about doing that. I was like, yeah, we could work on classic cars and rebuild them. And those things are worth tons of money. And I spent a couple of years just, learning all kinds of stuff about engines and turning wrenches and just, like, this is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. And then he got in so much trouble, and all of a sudden he ended up having to go off to jail. So that I was like, all right, that was completely unrelated to what I was doing, but still I was like, okay, so that's not going to happen. What am I going to do now?
You need to choose better friends.
Well, yeah, right.
He did eventually.
You think I've got there yet?
Nope.
But and so after that, that's when I just got a job at the moving company I was working at just to make money, right? I was literally moving furniture because they paid really, really well, because it's a really hard job. And I was really good at it. So actually, you get tips when moving, right? Like, tip your movers, if anybody doesn't know that. But
I do. Pizza.
Yeah, well, that's one thing you can tip. You're cheap. I'm just
It's because it's usually my friends.
No, it's true. It's true. There's a difference there. But I did that for a while, and then when they were like, oh, we can get you up into a management position here, and then a sales position opened up, and I was like, that's what I want to do. It's like, I think I could really do well at that. And so then I transitioned into doing sales, and then I did that for a while, and then we moved to Hawaii with that job because I was a work from home job. I actually was the first one who started working from home doing that job. Everybody else was in the office, and they didn't have a spot for me, and I was like, I can do this from home. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, 100%. And it just crushed it. And so after that, everybody was working from home. And then the owners ended up selling to somebody else, and they changed a bunch of the policies. And the main reason I quit doing that is because I just didn't believe in what I was selling anymore. They had stopped having. We were one of the best moving companies in Minnesota, and then it became just one of, just like all the rest. They were subcontracting out to other movers to try to get bigger. And I just couldn't deal with the complaints. People were just constantly upset because it was like, these people broke all my stuff and everything got smashed. And like, I don't want to do that. I don't like selling things I don't like. And that's when I got into the farming thing, because that's what we wanted to do anyway. So I started managing the tomato farm and selling lettuce. And I was, I was the second highest paid vendor at the farmer's market. The only guy who made more money than me was the guy selling ahi tuna, because, he's selling it at like $20 a pound. And I'm selling tomatoes and lettuce and pulling in over $2,000 a week, selling all this produce, and things were going really, really well until the owner, again, I don't want to say I was taking advantage of the situation, but what had happened was the owner's wife had gotten diagnosed with a brain tumor when they had flown to the mainland. So it went from being a situation where he was like, hey, can you just watch my farm for a week while we're back on the mainland, to we're not going to be able to come back for 9 months. So I just took over, and he just kind of said, you just run it, do everything you can do, and this is how much I need to, pay the mortgage, and we'll be good. And so I was just cutting him a little bit each week, and that was it. And then after his wife eventually passed away, and after he'd gone through that mourning period, and he came back, and he was like, all right, we're going to get back into this, and we're going to do this. And he's like, here's the plan. He drew out the plan, and all of a sudden he was taking, 60% of that $2,000 to $2,500 I was making every week. All of a sudden he's like, yeah, that's got to go to me, and then you get to keep what's left. I'm like, that's not going to work. Like, I can't do that. And that's when I got to the coffee farm. And same thing there. They kept saying they were paying me. I was making the equivalent of about $13, $14 an hour at the coffee farm, because I was working 60 to 70 hours a week, right? So when you planned it all out. Now, then I started doing the tours for them, and we grew that tour program into something unbelievable. That's when I started getting tips doing tours. And every now and then people would slip you $100. I do tours for hundreds of people a day, like hundreds of people. I'd do a tour of 50 people per tour, one every hour, just going with people just handing you 20s, people handing you 10s. The money was good. They kept talking about, I was trying to make deals with them. There was 8 acres of farmland above the farm that no one had owned. I was going to try to buy that. We were going to turn it into more coffee farm, build a new processing facility. It was going to be on my property, but make the deals with them to help them pay for it. I was trying to build something, generational wealth out of it. And then COVID hit and all the tourists went away. So then I was back down to like $13 an hour, working 70 hours a week, and everything going on with COVID. And it's, again, I keep having these little dreams, and I failed a whole bunch of times, and I still keep, but if I hadn't have done that, the company I work for now, I met that guy at the coffee farm. So I wouldn't have the job I have now if I hadn't have done that. And the job I have now is enough to support my family. We're not, I'm not getting rich. I'm not raking in tons, but we live well. My wife, I can help her. I can support my wife and daughter without her having to work, because I don't even know how she would work with her illness. So I can thank God for that, because actually that happened after we got saved, right? That's when that job finally came to me, because I'd been for just years constantly just struggling. Even at the moving company, when I worked there, you don't, when you're moving furniture, it's not like, oh, here's an 8-hour day. It's you show up and this whole house has to be moved before tomorrow, regardless. So, I mean, we would literally move furniture from 8 a.m. till 1 or 2 in the morning sometimes. Just loading, picking up boxes, picking up dressers, picking up stuff. We would load, the moving trucks, not semis, but we use the big box trucks. Sometimes some people's houses would take 6 trucks full of stuff. Gosh. And there'd be 8 guys, and we'd be there till 2 in the morning. Some people have so much stuff. It's ridiculous.
I know. Yes. I know.
So, and we all have more stuff than we need. So I'm kind of going a long trip on this, but I just wanted to show, kind of was going through it again, that I've constantly had these new dreams, new goals, and every single one of them's falling apart, and I never stop.
Yeah, but as I say, you, like, I hear all you guys' story, and here's the moral of your guys' story, and even ours, and I think, this is good for Autumn to hear, is that you guys never stopped, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Never. So, like, this thing didn't work out, you move to the next thing.
The dream changes,
it
but
changes,
the work doesn't.
But the work doesn't.
Yeah.
You guys never gave up.
Right.
And that's what you got to do too, is, when you're going through these life situations, we fall down, we fail, or something happens where it's out of our control, but we just keep moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to do, and that's what you have to do in life.
Right.
And we're going to learn these lessons along the way, and not one of us in this room has ever stopped moving.
Yep.
We've always kept going. We get knocked down, we get back up. You get knocked down, you get back up, right? You heard that many times. I don't know. Oh, yeah. You get knocked down, you get up again.
Chubbawamba?
Yeah.
I don't listen to that music.
That heathen music.
Yeah, but I just wanted to hear it, and that's where I think the moral of everybody's story is that we just keep moving, and you keep dreaming. Like right now, your dream is to own, land and a piece of property or house, and you're still working towards that.
Yep.
You're still working every day. You're still working towards that. Yours. I mean, we can go around this whole room and be like, these are our goals and our dreams, and we're still working for them. They're still in our mind. They're still in our sight, but we're going to keep working for them.
And I think when you achieve that dream, there's another dream.
There's another
up
one
ahead.
Oh yeah,
you'll never
stop.
You'll never achieve the dream
Once it's in your blood,
until
you
death.
can't stop working.
Yes.
Until death.
So and here,
then we'll achieve the
right.
dream.
But then here is one of the things too, is if I get to that goal, it's going to make me happy.
Yeah,
I hear that all the time.
But
And you're not going to, because if you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy when you get it.
Right.
So you better be happy now and shoot for that dream, and don't expect that dream to make you happy.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to make you happy. That's talking out of life experience from probably everyone in this table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, Autumn, that was to you.
Yes.
No words again. I mean, I guess it's true.
It is very true. But I mean, you're going to learn this along the way, and I'm glad you came, and it's going to be a struggle, and you got to hear from all the guys around the table that whatever dream that you choose and whatever you're shooting for, it's going to be a struggle. Yeah. It's going to be a fight. You're going to get knocked down.
Anything worth doing is going to be difficult.
Right.
Is going to be challenging. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Right.
But what I've been taught is if it's God's will, it'd be like it's a straight path. So like, what's the difference between?
Well, so the straight path is going to be a straight path, but there's going to be hurdles.
There's going to be hurdles.
There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be.
It might be straight, but it also might go
and
down
yeah.
and up.
Okay.
Because we talk about all the time, especially as pastors and stuff. You see God's will, you follow God's will, but we don't tell you how challenging it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you look at anybody in Scripture, you look at any pastor, you look at anybody that's a Christian, and you see the challenges and the hurdles. Like, I don't know how many with the last church, I gave up on the dream, and that's when I ran to law enforcement. But that's not what God called me to do.
Mm-hmm.
That was a challenge, and that was a hurdle that I had to learn to get over, and it took me many, many years to get there. Right? And that's, every pastor has I feel like has a similar story to that. Maybe not to that extreme of a hurt, but every pastor has some sort of story of a hurdle to where it was like, all right, God's called me into doing this. This was God's will for my life, was to do ministry and to serve him in the church. But then this happened. Right. And that's why we see a lot of pastors now leave, because of that hurdle, and they never learned how to get over the hurdle. That's why we see a lot of people give up on their dreams and give up on following that will that God placed in front of them, whether that's in the church ministry or not. Mm-hmm. That being a vet, I mean, I don't know, but if that's God's will or not.
Yeah. There's
going to be the hurdles. You have to cross them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that hurdle's there doesn't mean that is God saying no.
Okay.
That's testing you to see how much you're going to rely on God to guide you and light that path for you.
Mm-hmm. And the more challenges you face is, in my mind, is always showing you that you actually are on the right path.
Yeah.
Because if you're not being tested and challenged by the powers that are against us, the literal fallen angels that are fighting against us, it's because they don't fear you.
I mean, how many times did Paul get thrown out of a city for preaching the gospel?
Right.
Or,
we could bring up every what is Mike call them? They're not stories, they're
biblical truths.
It's biblical history.
Truth.
It's
they're
history,
historical
right?
truths.
Mostly everybody in the Bible had troubles.
Every single one of them.
Everyone had a struggle,
whether it was self-induced or whether it was placed there to test their faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Every single one of them.
And that's what God wants you to do, though, is when you hit that struggle, he wants you to fall down to him and cry out to him. Mm-hmm. Jesus did that.
It's a testing of your faith.
Jesus cried out to his Father and cried out when he was going through struggles. And when he was going through difficulties, he wept, right? He cried out to his Father.
When he was being challenged by Satan in the desert or in the wilderness, he went to Scripture.
Right.
He prayed and went to Scripture to fight against Satan.
And that's how you're going to have to do that, was when you go through those struggles, it's God's will, is you're going to have to go to God.
Right.
You're going to have to.
And sometimes, though, our flesh self gets in the way to where we're like, but that wasn't really what God wanted me to do then, so I'm going to step away. No,
that's not
it. Ridiculous.
We have three forces against us, right?
Yeah.
The flesh, sin. Oh, no, it was the flesh, the world, and Satan.
Yeah.
And don't just think Satan's one person.
It's not one person.
It's not one devil. There's not just one evil entity fighting against you. It is an entire army fighting against you. They fight through other people. They don't attack you directly. You're not going to see Satan laughing at you. They come at you through other people.
Yeah.
And that's how you get knocked down. That's what I've heard continuously, is Christians fail because they rely on other people and get let down by other people and allow that to fall away from God. It wasn't God who failed them.
Nope.
It was people who failed them. So you have to keep that in mind, that just because even if someone says they're a Christian, that doesn't mean that you don't know their walk. You don't know where they are. And they will fail you just as often as the lost will fail you. And you can't let that discourage your faith. That's their issue. And that's, again, something I've struggled with against numerous times in all the challenges we
all
face
have.
across. We rely heavily on other people, and when they fail you, it hurts so much, and then you start looking at yourself. And again, if I wish I would have had the Lord back then, because I found so much peace in going to God when things don't go right or when things fail. I don't feel the same way I did before, when I would just constantly, all I had myself to look at and myself to pity upon and all that. And it was just I was literally Job in the trash heap, you know, this is all my
pity
fault.
party.
Yeah. And of course God shows up and smacks him around and says, "What's wrong with you, man?"
Right. Yeah.
Just to paraphrase.
A good one.
Yeah.
When you fully trust someone without a doubt, you finally get one of two results: a person for life or a lesson for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm not saying you should give up on trusting people either, because that's a good point to it. You can't. You have to. You know, you have to keep opening yourself up. You keep opening people up and allowing them into your heart and allowing them into your life, and they're gonna hurt you. And then you wipe the dust off your sandals and move on when you need to. And then, but you will find good people if you do that. I mean,
because I'm gonna say a lot of people put their selves first, their self-interest, right?
Yeah.
You know,
oh yeah.
that's how they let you down, is they put themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
especially out in the world.
Yes.
Especially out in the world.
Then you turn your wounds into wisdom.
mm-hmm.
Was that? Did you? Oh, that was a quote you just had. I really thought you threw that, like pulled that out of nowhere.
Where do you get your quotes from?
I am not that smart.
The
I
old
told you.
interweb.
The interweb.
Pinterest.
Google.
What is a Pinterest?
I think you know. I think you're lying.
No, I'm dumb on these things. Trust me.
He just Googles it.
Yep.
He actually gets all of his quotes from Mike.
Smart guy.
Okay, sure.
See if you say so.
Yeah.
What do you think, Autumn? You got any questions?
No, I think that's it. You guys covered them all.
All right, we answered all the
Hey.
questions
Yeah.
of
So,
life.
so you're gonna go right through college, no hiccups, no nothing, right?
No.
It's going to be a
That's
breeze.
not what you said.
If you didn't hear anything else, chase the dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chase the dream.
Well, and I know this probably doesn't actually apply quite as much to you, Autumn, and I don't know you that well, but I'm just saying, one of the things I've said to some of the younger people nowadays when I'm trying to explain to them how even being a Christian doesn't make life easy all of a sudden or something like that. Again, I equate it
I think it makes it harder.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I put
You're
it...
going out to society too.
Yeah, yeah. And I put it to them in, again, a term I think they can understand. It's like life is like a video game. If you're on the right path, if you are winning, it gets harder. And it gets harder. And
Good
it
way to
gets
put it.
harder.
Yeah.
It doesn't get easier as you go.
Yeah.
It gets harder as you go. And that's how you know you're on the right path. If all of a sudden it's easy, I think you took a wrong turn somewhere.
You can't go to level 1 to level 12.
No.
You have to,
go
hit
through.
all the,
Yep.
You have to go through all the levels.
In Mario, you can.
Oh, you can? No.
It's
Think
like
you're playing
riding
the
a
wrong
horse up
game.
the mountain.
Right.
Riding a horse up the mountain. It gets harder as you get up.
Yeah, but I tell you what's more challenging or what's more rewarding? Being like, yep, I took those couple of warps, I'm right to the last level and I beat Mario in 30 minutes, or the fact that you fought the entire way through, or like
The fight and the challenge, you get bigger rewards at the end.
I don't know. It gets boring about 5 minutes in.
Gotcha. All I gotta say, I beat the original Zelda game, so I'm good. That's a challenge. You play that
See,
one.
that's how to.
Yeah, you guys are all looking at me like, what is he
No,
talking
I know
about?
what you're talking about. I know.
I don't know what you're talking
The
about.
original
Ray.
Zelda was hard.
I can beat
Nerds.
Solitaire.
His next challenge
Does
is the
that
Rubik's
count?
Cube.
Right. But that's also, I mean, the society is driving people to that whole thing. I look at what games are nowadays. They are nothing like the games that we had back in the day. I mean, Contra, that was a huge one when I was a kid. And everybody knew the code to get 50 lives, because if you didn't get 50 lives, you couldn't beat that game. Like Contra, because it was the game where when you died, you didn't go to your save point. You started back over at the beginning, just like Mario. Right, so if and luckily life's not that way.
Sometimes
it can be. No, that's true. I mean, that's how we felt when we moved here from Hawaii, because we were literally like, all right, we're starting back over at the beginning.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
When we moved here too, we gave everything up, moved away. And that's where I grew up and knew everybody, all the friends. Like everything.
Yep.
Moved here and didn't know anybody. Now look at.
Look who you got around.
What's up, friend? Now you can't get rid of us.
I know.
Me.
I think he's winning now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anybody else got anything else we want to throw
You got
in?
another quote.
I've
I
got
know
a
you
finisher
do.
if we're ready.
All right, I
Let's
think we
do
are.
it.
Okay. You were given this life because you're strong enough to live it.
Love it. There you go.
Quote of the night.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
She might need that. Send that to her. She can pin that up on her Pinterest.
My Pinterest board.
Pinterest board.
What is a Pinterest? Really?
It's
Are you actually- are you
it's a
serious?
site that women use.
yes. And they show their husbands all the time. Can you make this?
Yeah.
I want this. Can you make
Or-
that?
That's why I thought you had it,
Or
Randy.
like right now, it's
Oh,
floor
there it
plans for
is.
us.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
Pandora.
this is what I want. This is the house I want. These floor plans. Oh,
Hey, do
Okay.
you not know if she wants something made, she calls your dad? I'm not talented.
If she wants her car fixed, that's when she talks to Randy.
I got somebody for that.
He
Too.
doesn't, he doesn't know how to work on a Ford.
It's true.
Maybe old ones.
Yes, I don't.
it's okay. I don't either.
Yeah.
Me
It's fun
neither.
learning.
That's because they break down all the time, right? That's how I know how to work on them.
That's why they're all in the shop
I
anyway.
wasn't gonna say it.
Well, Jetty, you good over there?
I'm good.
All right,
All right.
man.
Well, hey,
Are
we
you shorter than me?
he
No, I'm slouching.
You're just now noticing that. He's even got a,
Well, he's got the phone. He's got the phone book underneath him. So
I
booster
feel like
chair.
my chair kind of has a little sway in the bottom. Yeah, it does.
Well, hey, we appreciate you guys joining us tonight on Spiritual Debriefing. Autumn, every time we have a guest, we ask them to close us in prayer. So,
You got it.
thanks.
Dear Lord Jesus, thank you for letting me be here tonight as a guest and learn why we need to dream and how to follow your path even though we need to go through struggles, and how we need to fall and cry to you, God, when we're going through those struggles. And thank you for letting me be here tonight. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for listening to Spiritual Debriefing, a podcast supported by First Baptist Church Hiwasse. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so you can be notified when we post new episodes, as well as check out our past episodes. We'll be posting new podcasts every other Thursday. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have questions you'd like us to answer, comments, or feedback on the podcast, please contact us through our social media or email us at dmeadows@fbchiwasse.com. Thank you, and we hope God blesses your day.